Why can't hustle be without worry? Why can't hustle have chill? Like, you know how we have stray cows and stray dogs here?
Yeah.
They had stray giraffes on the roads where we are driving, and our group went to Uganda border.
Okay.
And that was anyway a scary area because it was completely remote, it was completely village. And also it was a terrorist area as well because there are some terrorist groups there.
नमस्ते, जय हिंद. मेरा नाम है जय और आप देख रहे हैं द अवारा मुसाफिर शो. दिस एपिसोड इज सुपर फन एंड फुल ऑफ लाफ्टर एंड जॉय. इस एपिसोड में मैं बात कर रहा हूँ आयुषी माथुर से. आयुषी इज अ मोटिवेशन एंड कॉन्फिडेंस कोच. शी इज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर, शी इज अ पॉडकास्टर, शी इज अ कंटेंट क्रिएटर. शी वेयर्स मल्टीपल हैट्स एंड डज अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स इन हर लाइफ. पर इस स्पेसिफिक एपिसोड में हमने इनमें से किसी भी चीज के बारे में बात नहीं की. इंस्टेड वी टॉक्ड अबाउट आवर ट्रैवल स्टोरीज, आवर लाइफ इन जनरल. वी डिस्कस्ड बुक्स, फिल्म्स एंड फ्रेंडशिप. एंड yes, we also talked about Ranveer, Allahbadia. Hit that like button because this episode is going to be crazy fun. I was thinking, let's start this whole conversation with the fact that who is Ayushi Mathur when she is not creating content? Like, what are the things that you do in your off time from content?
Okay, thank you so much first of all for having me on your show. And who is Ayushi Mathur? Whenever somebody asks me that question, I just say one thing: I'm a happy person.
Beautiful.
So that means that everything I do when I'm not creating content or not working is in pursuit of happiness. And it's not like a chase for happiness, but it's how can I maintain myself as a happy person, right? And what I've learned that a lot of people don't even think about that. They think that, oh, when I buy that car, I'll be happy. When I complete this course, I'll be happy, or whatever it may be. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers.
Happiness.
Yeah. But in every single moment, there is so much happiness, right? So, which is why when you told me, when I came in today, when you told me that you do a lot of things, that's because all those things excite me so much. So my aim in life is to try as much as I can because we just have one life, right? So, yeah, it's all in pursuit of happiness. So that's who I am.
Exactly. And you know what? Like, when I was going through your Instagram, one can see like you have done a lot of things. In fact, that shows in your content as well. You have experimented with your content as well. How did travel happen for you? Because as you said, you started with travel and also wildlife. And a lot of my audience is into traveling because this brand started as a travel page or a travel channel. So I want to talk about travel because those are the best moments. But I feel there's nothing better than traveling in life because you get to experience literally everything. So how did travel happen for you?
That is so true. Travel happened very early in life because my grandparents and my parents, in my family, we've grown up in a very, very intellectual environment, right?
Okay.
So all the time we'll be talking about culture, history, geography. My grandparents were geography and history teachers.
Oh, wow.
So that was our bedtime talk.
Interesting.
Just talking about different geographies of the world, different historical, whatever we could come up with. And then not just because of that, my parents, when I was very young, we didn't have a lot of money, but still they would make sure that every month or every 2 weeks, we would take a road trip or we would take a trip, somewhere nearby only, but do something. So we traveled a lot when I was younger as well. Nearby only. I was living in Delhi, I was living in Jaipur and all those. So nearby places, but we would explore. And that's what me and my brother, we became when we grew up also. When we grew up also, we just always had this hunger for more. Exploring the cultures, finding out, new things about different parts of the world.
Correct.
And talking about wildlife, that happened because I don't have one incident because
I get it.
I remember even when I was a little girl, I was like 9 or 10 or something. Every monsoon, earthworms come out, right?
Right.
They would come out from the sand and mud and all that. So I would make houses for them in my house. I would catch them and make mulch and all that together and boxes of houses. So I've always been into wildlife and been curious about it. But how wildlife photography and my interest in wildlife not professionally, but as a hobby also came about was I remember that my father got me a DSLR when I was in 11th grade, and that was the time when we were living in Kenya. We were in Masai Mara, which is the hub of
heaven for wildlife photography.
All Animal Planet Nat Geo comes from Masai Mara and Serengeti, and that just made my love deeper for it. So
So talk about this a little bit more. What was that whole experience of living there? Because for me and my whole team actually, it's a dream to go over there and just click wildlife photography. Because in India, okay, we have a lot of wildlife here as well, but then that's the top drawer stuff. So what was that experience like?
I was very young. I was 16, but living in Kenya was, I think, the best year and a half of my life.
Wow.
Because first of all, it's so grounded in nature. Obviously, whenever I tell people, I used to live in Kenya, they'd be like, oh, did you live in huts? No. Nairobi is a modern city. We have all the buildings and everything. However, there's a lot of nature, a lot of greenery. Even the house lizards are this big, right? Wow. So there's obviously the flora and fauna is different because it's a different continent. And there also every month we would make sure we would travel. We'd go to Nakuru, we'd go to Naivasha, all these smaller wildlife reserves also. And certain places were so good that, like, you know how we have stray cows and stray dogs here?
Yeah.
They had stray giraffes walking around on the roads where we are driving. Like
they weren't stray giraffes.
Yeah, they weren't a part of like a reserve. If you go to places like Naivasha and Nakuru, these two small towns, you're driving on the street and next to you, you will see families of giraffes walking by.
Damn.
And imagine, right?
So you're just walking randomly and there are giraffes walking with you.
Yeah.
Wow, that is an experience I want to have now.
I hope it's that way. It's been 12 years since, 11 years since I left. But yeah.
Wow, that's something I want to do now. Because, I told you about Uttarakhand and that one story. So I was in Rishikesh. I was working with this hostel, and my whole job was there to click travel pictures for them. And I was in Rishikesh, so it's like, I think so 1 hour max, 30 minutes, 40 minutes ka drive hai. So I took a two-wheeler and I went to Haridwar. Now while coming back from Haridwar, so it was 7 p.m. something, and it was getting dark because mountains. So I had to take a left, but then me being me, I took a right. And that path took me from a core jungle area. And I'm driving. Aage koi nahi hai, piche koi nahi hai, and there's no street light. And it's complete core jungle. Yeah. There's nothing like a road as well. Wo proper wo jungle wala pura wo hai. And I hear trumpeting of elephants. And I'm shit scared.
Wow.
Because I don't know, मैं two-wheeler पे अकेला हूँ, there's no one else around. I don't even know कि मैं अंदर वहाँ पे enter कैसे किया, because usually there's forest department and they tell you कि please do not enter. Yeah, this is not safe on a two-wheeler, especially after 7 p.m. And I'm going and I hear these trumpeting. I think so I went 1 or 2 kilometers ahead and I literally saw a herd of elephants going, wild elephants. Like they're crossing from one side to another. And अगर एक elephant भी ऐसा थोड़ा सा turn होके मुझे देख लेगा, I was like damn sure वो मुझे trample करके छोड़ देगा.
No, but they're peaceful animals.
Not when they had baby elephants with them. So
not if they thought you were a threat.
Yeah, especially when they have like baby elephants. So I think so they are very protective. Or I have heard like they are like scared basically कि कोई आके हमारे baby elephants को कुछ करना दे.
No, but if you don't do anything yourself, like to trouble them, if you're just there, they won't see you as a threat.
So I was anyway not going to do anything because I was myself scared, because there are like 20-30 elephants going right in front of me, wild elephants.
Yeah.
And I was mesmerized. Like I was frightened, but I was mesmerized by that sight because that was the first time when I had a close encounter with wildlife.
Yeah.
And I went thoda aur aage wahan se once the elephant crossed and I stayed there. I recited Hanuman Chalisa and then I was like, now let's go.
Yeah.
And there were monkeys now on the like वो street जैसा था, and at one side there's a river sort of thing, and at one side there are mountains and jungles. I am going through that, and there are like tens, 20s वाले monkeys, like probably more than 50, 60 monkeys, and all the same species. I am trying to cross, but वो road पे से हट नहीं रहा, and I'm just thinking कि please हट जाओ. And again, I start reciting Hanuman Chalisa because monkey is Hanumanji, so that's the connection I make. And out of the blue, there's this one giant monkey that comes over there, completely different species. उसका पूरा face is like colorful, and I've never seen that species in India, especially जो monkeys cities वगैरह में दिखते हैं उसमें तो कभी नहीं. And that monkey, like I'm on two-wheeler, वो मेरे बाजू में आके रुका, and I'm like, मैं उसको देख रहा हूँ, मुझे देख रहा है. Probably 10-15 मिनट हुआ रहेगा, हम एक दूसरे को देख रहे हैं. And I'm just praying कि just let me go, do not like harass me here. तुम लोग बहुत ज़्यादा हो, मैं अकेला हूँ. And he lifts his hand, and all the monkeys have like gone to one side. I have no clue if I was
Monkey
high,
king.
if this really happened. What was that? I have no clue.
Maybe you got so scared that you were hallucinating
Probably.
things.
I have no clue.
But it is possible. I can believe it.
I don't know. A lot of people don't believe it. They are like कि तू probably high था, तुझे खुद को इसके लिए ठीक से याद नहीं है. Do you also have like travel stories like these?
Yeah, many.
Okay.
But since we were talking about Kenya, I was camping with my school group. So every year we would go to different camps, like just 15 people divided into different groups. And our group went to Uganda border.
Okay.
And that was anyway a scary area because it was completely remote. It was completely village. And also it was a terrorist area as well, because there are some terrorist groups there as well. So they were very cautious of all the kids. We were kids back then. They have big boards there that this sensitive area, be careful and all that. So it was a 5-day trip, and one of the days we went on a hike. So it was a long 4-5 hour hike, and then we'll reach the summit and then come back the same day.
Okay.
One of my friends or classmates decided to not go ahead. She climbed with me. She wasn't feeling great, and she was like, can you just be with me for a while? So I walked slowly with her, and we had a guide with us, and there was another guide who was with the rest of the group, the rest of the 10-12 people and the teachers.
Okay.
So I chose to stay with her, and then she was like, just like 15-20 minutes in, she said, I want to go back to the bus. I don't want to do this hike. And then I was trying to be, I don't know, chivalrous or adventurous, I don't know what. I said, you take the guide with you, don't go back alone.
Okay.
And till now, my group has already half an hour on us. They're ahead of us, way ahead of us. I can't see anybody.
Yeah.
So I hiked the whole 3 hours by myself in Kenyan mountains where I came across some native people, but they didn't understand a word of English.
Wow.
And I am like 16. I'm so scared that, oh my God, this could be the death of me because I didn't have signal. I'm just hiking, and whoever I came across a group of tribal men. And I'm like, people like me, have you seen them? Where are they?
So you're actually asking the people like me, have you seen them?
Like students, right? I wanted to say students like me, where are they? Wow. And with backpacks and all, hikers or students, whatever they understand, they didn't understand a word of English. Damn. But somehow they were like, okay, go this way. And I took that way, and finally I could see across the mountain on the other side a bunch of my classmates and teachers, and I was like, hey, wait for me, and they couldn't hear me. So I just ran for it.
Wow. And this is one of those areas which has rebel groups there.
A lot of things, right? Wildlife, it has rebel groups, it has terrorist groups, and nobody speaks in English. Like, I didn't come across...
How old were you at this
16.
16, wow.
So it was one of those, since you guys watch Discovery and all that, I shouldn't be alive episodes.
Yeah. Damn, I cannot even imagine a 16-year-old in a jungle
with no cell service.
With no cell service, and rebel group being there, wildlife being there. Damn. Wow. Did you have any kind of resources with you or something?
Nothing, I think just water.
Wow. So you are basically probably Mowgli ka ek aspect. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
for
have,
so many hours, because then your brain starts thinking. I was still very alert and trying to make the best decisions, but then you still, as a woman, you start thinking, no,
Correct.
like what if? I mean, Kenyan people are amazing, darling people, amazing people. But you still wonder that I'm in such a remote area, nobody will even know if I get kidnapped or taken away or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
But then
So-
you experience solitude over there. And
Yeah.
I'm sure over the years you have experienced solitude a lot, and you might have embraced solitude by now, because once
Yeah.
you start traveling, you automatically, like, you're okay with being alone, and you start embracing that solitude. So talk about that, because a lot of people think कि if you are alone, if you are with your own company, it's not good. They think कि socialize करना ही सब कुछ है.
Your own company is the best, trust me.
I trust that.
I cancel plans so that I can just be with me. That's because, I mean, I travel a lot alone as well. And even when I'm traveling with a group or something, I make sure I take time out to go on walks by myself. Because first you get to reflect a lot on everything that you're doing and being. You have to reflect, right? Otherwise, everything that you and I will learn from each other right now, if you don't take time out to just think and absorb later, you
It
won't
makes no
learn.
sense otherwise,
Yeah,
yeah.
there wouldn't be any learning. And second, you can also reflect on how you conduct yourself. What can I do better? How can I improve myself? And this is a lot of self-awareness, and self-awareness increases when you're by yourself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you taken like these walks probably in some other country or in India as well? And what has that experience been like?
I walk everywhere, so I don't have one story.
Yeah.
Because I travel outside also. I usually backpack with my brother. I think all my trips, I can't think of any trip where I haven't walked.
So probably
just-
the best walk of your life till now.
The best, it's a funny story. So we were in Bruges, and Bruges is a very small town in Belgium.
Okay.
And they don't have they might have taxis, but taking taxis in Europe is very, very expensive. I can't pay 40 euros to drive 2 kilometers, right?
Yeah.
So we got to Bruges from a bus, and then we had our suitcases because we were there for 10 days. And then the entire city is made of cobbled stone, right? Like the stones instead of
Correct.
plain road, cobbled stones,
Right.
like in South Bombay.
Right.
And we had our suitcases. And then we had to walk 5 kilometers. And this entire city, because it's a small town, is completely silent, right? So it was just me and my brother. And the sound of our suitcases, cutter, throughout for 5 kilometers. It was mortifying. We were like, oh my God. And we crossed a lot of residential areas, restaurants and all that. And the sound of that was like you echoing across the city.
Were there locals who were like,
I'm sure
borrowing
they
you?
would have been like, what the hell, guys, get a backpack or something. So that was a very funny walk I can never forget.
Yeah. So are you the backpack traveler or a proper suitcase traveler?
Suitcase, because I always overpack,
Okay.
but I stay in hostels and all. Still, I'll take
Suitcase.
suitcases.
So I used to take a backpack, but now I've shifted to suitcase. Even I stay in hostels, but the backpack is very clumsy and you cannot pack properly in that.
Yeah,
If it's a trek or
That's true.
something, then theek hai. But if you're just traveling, then suitcase is the best.
absolutely. Yeah.
Do you have any travel tips for people? Because I've seen a lot of people who want to solo travel, but firstly they are underconfident because solo traveling is not easy. Let's accept that.
Absolutely.
The first step towards solo traveling is very hard because you just don't know how to do it. And secondly, once you are on that solo trip, you don't know what to do again, because when you are with a group, theek hai, everyone makes a plan and then you go somewhere or whatever. But when you are by yourself, what do you do? So, do you have any tips for people?
Absolutely. The first thing is, the hardest part is convincing your parents.
Yeah.
Right? How to, so you have to start small, right? So you have to, I would say first thing is convincing your parents, but that will be addressed by everything else I'm going to talk about. Second is that you have to pick a place where you either have relatives or friends living there. So start small. Don't just go all the way like, okay, my first solo trip is going to be in Meghalaya where I don't know anybody, right? Don't do that. Go to a place where you have people you know. You don't have to live with them, but at least make plans to meet them so that your parents are a little calm about it. Second, try to stay in hostels, because that is the beauty of solo travel. I try to stay in hostels almost everywhere I go. And third, make a list of things you want to see and explore in that city or state in advance, so that you already have a good itinerary. And it's okay, even if you're traveling alone. Now, I think today's generation is only worried about who's going to click my pictures. You ask the people around there, hey, can you please click up a couple of photos for me? It's not that difficult. Carry lots of books. If you read fast, carry 2 books at least, so that wherever you are, you can sit and read peacefully. And over time, it will get easier and you'll start enjoying it a lot. That's how I started. I started early by traveling with my brother, and then we'd go stay in hostels, and then we would make groups of friends we met at the hostel, and then make plans with them. That, okay, do you want to go explore this or explore that? That way you make new friends, you get to know different cultures, because usually these hostels have people from different countries and all also staying. Right. So these 2-3 things.
That thing about hostels is the best thing, because you get to meet a lot of people from various backgrounds. And that is something which I'll talk about again. But what was your first proper solo trip? Where was it?
I think Goa. But I don't do a lot of solo travel, because not because of any other reason, but because of the people in my life. For example, my brother or my partner, we are very into history and culture and all that. Right. So I like sharing that with my brother, for example. Right? So when I go to a place, like I went to Aurangabad, we stayed in a hostel, but because Aurangabad is such a historical town, right? So I wanted someone to continuously discuss with.
I miss this about discussing history and culture with people, because I'm big time into that. So my whole content that I make is about culture, history, traditions, and everything. And I don't have people with whom I travel. They are not that much into history as much as I am. I am a complete nerd about history. So I don't get to discuss history with them. So I am right now finding people who can discuss history with me while I'm traveling.
A thing to that, you know what I do? Even people who don't like history,
you make them,
I keep telling, I become a teacher. I'm like, this is this is that, you have to know, because I'm with you.
I do the same thing now at my home. And my father, he takes some interest. Then he's like, ठीक है, अब बहुत हो गया, तो थोड़ा उधर जा चलेगा. Then I talk to my mother, and she hears me out completely, because mother being mother, she is very humble. Supportive. She is like, कि मेरा बेटा बता रहा है, तो सुनना चाहिए. And she hears that. Then comes my brother, who is like, तू प्लीज ज्ञान मत दे, अगर ज्ञान देने वाला है तो तू दूसरे रूम में चले जाओ, यहाँ मत रहे प्लीज. So I am फ्रस्ट्रेटेड कि कोई तो सुन दो, because once you start talking about history, or just getting to know about history, then you want to talk, because those are stories. At the end of the day, every kind of history is a story, and that's what I miss probably in traveling. But then coming back to the hostel wala part, you also talk about networking a lot. How to network with people. So for someone who is traveling for the first time and staying in a hostel, how do they network with the other travelers over there? Because breaking ice is not easy. I remember my first 2 or 3 trips, I stayed in a hostel, but I couldn't talk to people. Although with time it got better. I now have friends in various countries because of those hostel trips. So any kind of tips how to network over there in a hostel?
2-3 simple things. First of all, approach everyone with a smile, right? Of course. And then make sure your body language is safe. You're not coming across as unsafe or threatening to anybody. No matter the gender, your body language carries a lot of communication.
Can you go into depth of this? How does body language show if you are friendly or unfriendly?
See, simple things. It goes back to the animal kingdom also. One, if you are very, very reserved and shy and all that, it will show up in your body language, because you will make yourself smaller to be not noticed, right? But if you're very competitive and argumentative and all that, then you would make yourself too big. You try to walk too tall and walk too confident and all that. You have to somewhere find the balance where you look approachable also and non-threatening as well.
Right.
So and this will happen when you start observing other people. So right now in this room, if you look at everyone who's here, just notice their body languages. Whose posture makes you feel most friendly or most approachable. Right? When you start noticing other people like that, reading other people like that, you'll also know what changes you can make in yourself. Right? So that is one. Second is approach everyone with a smile. Of course, not a creepy smile, but an approachable smile. Third, it's not difficult to say hi. That's how I started also. I would just say hi. Hi, what's up? Hi, how are you? That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And if the other person thinks you're approachable or they want to talk to you, they will continue talking as well.
Right.
So start with these small things. And then the most important thing to remember is everybody loves talking about themselves, even introverts. Everybody loves talking about themselves. So if you are shy, you're an introvert, you don't know how to make friends or network, ask people about themselves. Ask people about what they do, what are they here for, something interesting you see on them. Maybe they have a fun laptop or accessory, whatever. Ask them stories about themselves.
Right.
And then when you do that, over time, they will start trusting you as well. Right? Because they've told you so much about them. Now,
So I think so that's the hack. Like once someone has told you about themselves, then it's automatically in their mind that they now trust you. Because otherwise no one is going to tell you stories if they don't trust you. And you just have to be little bit, I don't know, someone like a good interviewer, because you need to ask them questions about them.
Exactly.
I was in some hostel, I don't remember exactly where. I met this one guy. I just approached him because he was reading one of my favorite books. So I knew I can talk about that book with him. But over time, like I started talking to him, and over the next 2-3 hours that we talked, I got to know he's traveling all across India and he's giving people free dentures. Like he's replacing old people ka pura dentures or whatever it's called. He's doing that for free while traveling, and all on his own like money expense.
Wow.
So you get to meet a lot of different people from different backgrounds, and I don't know, that's just beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So ask questions. Ask people questions about them.
Yeah.
Again, you have to read people.
Right.
If you feel like they don't want to discuss too much, they're not giving away, they're giving monosyllable answers, then let it be. Move on. Talk to someone else. But if they're interested, they seem keen in telling you, then ask them questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I want to talk about your content as well now. Because I've seen, firstly, like you create content about a lot of things. So, what is it about content that, first attracted you towards that? Because, especially video content, not even travel, like the proper content that you're creating now. What was it that attracted you towards that whole thing?
I love talking.
Best guest on a podcast.
The thing is that, like we've been talking about, I read so much, I have traveled so much, I have so much experience. I want people to be able to learn from it. So, I would say in the last 3 years, I have completely changed around as a person.
Okay.
I mean, I was always confident, but few things happened in my life in between 2017 to 2020 that really crashed my confidence, self-esteem, all of that. So I became someone who used to self-doubt a lot, doubt myself a lot. My self-esteem completely crashed. Building that back up, I found some hacks or some ways of my mind that I really, really do wish other people can experience too.
Yeah.
I want other people to be as happy as I am.
Right.
And that's why I make content the way I make it now.
So technically your content is your life.
Yeah.
So technically your niche is then whatever you are experiencing. Experiences are your niche. And is that the best way to approach content? Because in the past, like I've been creating content for 8 years now, a little more than 8 years. Firstly, it was travel photography, then it became travel blogging, then travel videos, and nothing worked on a level that is now. And what I'm doing right now is just using my experiences or my knowledge and creating videos about that, and that is working for me. Do you think it's the best way to approach content, like just turning your experiences into content?
People love stories for sure. So if you can be a good storyteller, nothing better than that.
Yeah.
However, maybe I'm not the right person to talk about this because I don't pay too much attention to how much growth is happening,
Yeah.
whether I'm becoming a money making content creator or not. I do make some money from my content, but that's not my primary aim.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you have to see that can you do this for long enough,
Right.
right? If it doesn't make you happy, you won't. You're going to start seeing it as a task. So the days we shoot, those are the days I look forward to the most. The only thing I don't look forward to is putting on makeup and like getting ready. But otherwise, talking to the camera, I look forward to that so much because I love being a teacher, right? So if you can find something that you love and are going to continue to love forever, make content on that.
Yeah, that makes sense actually. What are your favorite films?
Films.
Yeah.
So
Again, I'm
many.
taking a detour.
No, I for sure. So many in Bollywood. It has to be.
Let me ask you this: are you a bigger fan of Bollywood or like Hollywood? And Bollywood is not the right term. That's a complete debate, not for us.
Indian cinema.
Yeah, Indian cinema. Yeah.
Actually, because I love stories, I would watch anything and everything.
Wow.
So, and plus my brother's a filmmaker. So sometimes we watch 2 movies in the theater per week, right?
Wow.
So we watch a lot. So there's no comparison whether I like Hollywood more or Bollywood more, because this industry has a lot to give to the world.
Right.
And so does that industry and so many other industries like Korean, French and all that as well.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite films in Bollywood has to be in the modern day film, has to be Dear Zindagi. I could relate to it a lot, every aspect of it, 100%. And it kind of, gave our generation and the previous generation the right message that needed to be given. I really like Tamasha also.
Oh, beautiful film.
For sure. Again, the right message. These two are some of my, I really like. And I definitely like old Amitabh Bachchan movies also. They're very dramatic and fun. Yeah. And all of, for the drama, I watch a lot of Sanjay Leela Bhansali and Rajamouli films. Yeah, that is there. Hollywood, so I have so many. Yeah, I don't think I can point out to one or two.
Okay. Yeah. Whenever someone asks me what are your favorite books or films, I'm like, I cannot give you like 10 or maybe 50 we come here. So just let's move on from this question.
Exactly.
It's that for me. Did you watch Kantara?
Half of it, not yet.
Okay.
It was too fast paced. I think Kannada is too fast paced for me to keep track of.
Yeah.
That's why I couldn't finish it.
Okay. I watched Kantara in theaters, first day, first show. And that too because of a friend. I was not keen on watching that for some reason. But now I feel I'm thankful to that friend. Because Kantara was brilliant. Like,
It is.
cinematography, brilliant. Storytelling is brilliant. And the crux of that whole film, the spiritual message, it's like one of the best films that I've seen in recent times. And I don't know, for some reason, I was watching the film in the theater. Towards the end, since you have not watched the film, I don't want to give you spoilers. Yeah. But something happens towards the end and the whole movie is coming to an end now. And those visuals and the sound, it made me cry. And
of course,
and it was not a love scene. It was not any
it's
emotional
just the
scene.
intensity of it.
Exactly the intensity of that actor. I actually felt so. Kantara is based on the god, like the main actor. I forgot his name. He's playing this Dev, which is a god, and we were watching that. And I actually felt that God has come and played that role because it was that intense.
Wow. Very good filmmaking.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent.
And it makes me wonder, like, how do people even do that? Because it's so tough to bring out that intensity.
In film.
Yeah, on a camera. Because I have tried acting. I come from a journalism background, so we had to work on our advertisement wala skill as well. So because in Mumbai there's no only journalism, it's journalism with advertisement BM. So we used to act as well, and I couldn't act. Like till date, I cannot act, and I've tried acting as someone who has gone insane for one of the ads, and my friends still make fun of me for that particular piece of ad that we made. So I can imagine, like, it's very tough.
It takes a lot. Yeah, it's a very tough job, acting.
What kind of books do you read?
I read both fiction and non-fiction. Yeah, non-fiction because for work I need that because I
Yeah.
coach people, so it's always good to learn something new. So lately I've been reading a lot of non-fiction. Yeah.
Okay. Any of your favorites from recent times?
Favorites, I wouldn't say favorites. I pick up something or the other from every book for
Okay.
sure. Recently, I finished a very simple, tiny book called Do the Work. So I love no bullshit stuff, right?
Is there a white cover? Is
Yeah,
that-
with a
okay,
pencil on
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
Stephen
I-
Pressfield, I think.
Right.
Do the work. So no bullshit. It's simple, direct. I don't like a lot of fluff when people put they're trying to say the same thing, but they're putting a lot of fluff on it.
Yeah.
That I really like that. Again, Mel Robbins' book, The High Five Habit, really good because of her stories. Of course, what she's talking about, the habits she's giving away and all that is great, but her stories resonated with me a lot. Those. There are so many books. Oh my god, I have a huge library.
Switch to fiction because a lot of
Fiction.
people, fiction.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people who watch or listen to our podcast, they are into fiction books.
Yeah?
Because
Oh.
I used to create content about books. So I started as a non-fiction content creator.
Yeah.
But then I realized people don't want non-fiction; they want fiction because
Great.
of masala. And
So, since you do talk about history a lot, there is this series called the Empire series.
yeah,
Have you read it?
yeah,
I love that author. He makes you
brilliant.
really live through
Right.
Rome or live through whatever he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's talked about different empires anyway in the world. And so in historical fiction, I love historical fiction. Nowadays, I don't have that much time to finish it, but love that. I recently read, the only fiction book I've recently read is The Rosie Effect.
I've heard about the book. I've
It's
not read it.
amazing.
It's good.
It's like very light-hearted comedy, rom-com kind of a thing, but
Okay.
not in a traditional manner rom-com, in a very, very stoic, in a very
Wow.
quite scientific manner rom-com. So definitely, if somebody is looking for that, read that.
Perfect. What like in fiction? Are there any particular genres or a niche that you like to read about?
Historical fiction.
Historical fiction.
Yeah.
So there's this series. It's called how can I forget the name? It's one of my favorite series. It's The Burning God or something like that. I'll tell you the name afterwards. But that series is about China. So what the author has done is she has created a fantasy world using Chinese history.
Is this the Japan's takeover of China? Is this the book that talks about that? The Nanyang stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah, my brother's read it and he was reading it. Yeah, I
There
know
are 3
which book
books
you're
in
talking
that
about.
series.
It is very sad.
Yeah, It's deeply sadistic, disturbing, sad,
yeah,
dark.
I know about that. I forgot the name as well. It's about Nanyang, right? When Japan took over China and killed
Japan,
a lot of
Britain,
people.
like they have talked about
Yeah.
everything. And that's a brilliant series. If you love historical fiction, you should read it.
I can't fathom so much death and destruction. Like I don't
Yeah,
watch sad
that's-
ending movies.
That's one of the I don't know if it's a drawback of that series or what, because I like those things. Call me sadistic if you want. I like to talk about death a lot. I read that and I was like, people can do a lot of stuff with storytelling because
But it is based on true facts.
yeah, it's
though.
based on true
That's
facts.
the sad part.
Exactly. And I just don't know, and that also makes you realize how good you can use a storytelling wala aspect.
Yeah, that also makes you realize how evil humans can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you talk about death a lot?
Not anymore. I mean, because like I said, because I practice Buddhism, we see life and death as neutral, right? That it's meant to happen. It's going to happen. So I don't mystify it too much. Yeah. So it's a thing. It's like two sides of a coin.
You were talking about you practice nature in Buddhism. How do you perceive death according to nature in Buddhism? Because I've seen in Hinduism there are various schools of thoughts, and every school talks about death in a different way. Is that the same way in Buddhism as well?
Again, Buddha taught us to see all all the events in your life as a matter of fact. Like it's a fact that it's going to happen. If you attach too much emotion, personally, I tell everyone to feel as deeply as you can, but don't be stuck in that feeling, right?
Yeah.
So, death is meant to happen. We're all going to die. Our loved ones are going to die. You cannot do anything about it. So, if you keep dreading it, a lot of people get in this cycle of dreading death
Yeah.
or being scared of it. So, Buddhism sees it as just as it is. It is death. End of story, right? That's about it.
Yeah. Probably that's the only thing which is not a lie. Matlab, everyone has to die, and that is supposed to happen. So that is the only truth in this whole world that exists. Apart from that, everything else is a lie in some way. So, and that is exactly why death fascinates me, because again, I'm a nerd. When I like a subject, I go deep into that, and then one fine day I went deep into this whole death wala thing, and I actually got depressed after a point.
Oh no.
Because you just don't know how to come out of that.
Come out of it?
Yeah.
Well, see it as a factual thing, like it's going to happen.
Yeah. But although I talk about death a lot, but I'm scared of death. Because
of your own death or around you?
Of my own death more than the people around me.
Really?
Yeah. Because so this is funny. I was in Egypt. I was working with the government over there, and we had taken 2-3 off days. And there's this place called Dahab. And वहाँ पे वो है, what is it called? The blue hole. So blue hole is like there's ocean, and suddenly there's this hole in which you go, and it's 100 feet deep or whatever. And उसके आसपास we were scuba diving, and I went with my trainer, scuba diving trainer, काफी deep, and my oxygen tank is empty. And I couldn't breathe. I'm telling my trainer कि भाई उसको एक तो action बताना पड़ेगा, because underwater you cannot talk obviously. So this. So I'm telling him this not okay. मैं actions भी गलत कर रहा हूँ because I'm scared now कि suddenly there's no oxygen. And he gave me all of his oxygen जो भी होता है to breathe. And while we are coming up, I was just thinking one thing. I've shot a lot of content here. If I die, who is going to post this? That was my only fear.
So let me ask you something. Besides this also, since you said you're scared of death, is it because you feel unfulfilled that you'll die too soon?
No, actually not. It's more like I will die, and I just don't know if I'll be I don't know how to put it in words. Like, it's a very weird, eerie feeling. I told you about that dream as well, right? The monks wala dream. So, for those of you who has not listened to this, so I keep getting this dream wherein I'm in a monastery and there are more than 100 monks who are chanting this specific mantra which you talked about. And for some reason, I connect my death with that. And I get scared because at the same time I feel very spiritual as well. Like, I feel very calm. But that whole part where I think about death, it makes me shiver, literally shiver.
What about death is so scary?
I cannot figure it out because I have accepted this fact that everyone has to die.
Yeah.
But I cannot fathom the fact that I have to die.
Is it the unknown that you're going to stop thinking? You're going to stop existing?
Exactly. Because probably since my childhood, I have been someone, so I was not good at studies, okay. So after school, when I got to know कि okay, दुनिया में बहुत सारी चीज है to explore apart from studies, and the subjects which I like, I can read about those things outside of school. So knowledge became sort of my first love, and now probably the fear is once I die, I cannot consume that knowledge again. That is my whole.
There
fear.
is no I after death.
Exactly.
Right? So there's nothing. There's no.
Yeah.
I mean, when there's nothing, so there's no fear also.
I don't know. Like, no one can answer that.
No, there is nothing after death.
But how can you talk about that when you have not died? Like, you need someone who has come back from death.
Who's come back from life, from death.
Let's move on from this topic because we have talked about
got
death.
too morbid, huh?
Yeah, but I want to take one last question on death, which is the most sadistic question, and my friends hate me for asking them this question, which is, how do you want to die?
How do you want to die? I joke about this sometimes. Uh, it's very funny. The people I love, right? Like the people I absolutely love. I joke about it with them that once we grow very, very old and we're done with life, we don't have much more to do. And see, we'll just jump off a plane without a parachute. Right? Yeah.
There's someone, right, who has jumped out of a plane without a parachute.
Okay.
There's a world record for that, if I'm not wrong.
Did they survive?
Yeah, they survived.
Okay.
And they, I don't know how they survived, but I remember seeing this somewhere.
Okay.
So,
I don't know.
By the way, since we were talking about death, there's a book that you should read. It's called Chats with Dead. It's by a Sri Lankan author.
Chats with dead people.
So it's the name of the book is Chats with Dead, and the whole story of the book is there's this person who has died in Sri Lankan civil war, and now he's trying to figure out, and he dies because of a murder, like uska murder hota hai. So he's after the death, his soul is trying to figure out कि उसका murder किसने किया. It's a very interesting.
Nice. You become Sherlock Holmes after dying.
Yeah. It's a beautiful book. Very sick book as well.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, coming back to
non-death stuff.
Yeah, normal life. What were we talking about before?
I don't know.
Let's jump back to travel again. Any favorite place in India, like where you thinking maybe retirement ke baad, I want to just go here and stay there?
Not even retirement. I'm planning right now only to shift to Goa.
Oh, so you're a beach person, not a mountain person.
It's not just about beach. It's about how people... Goa is like India's Kenya. Not because of wildlife, because you must have heard Hakuna Matata, right? Which is like, why worry?
Yeah.
Like, be chill, right? In Goan, in actually Portuguese it comes from, Goan people also have a term called sossegado, which means take it light, right? Chill. Right? So I love that way of life where why worry? So that's why.
So you want that chill life, like
I already have that.
But then when someone looks you up from the outside, when someone consumes your content, it looks like you are someone who likes to hustle as well, like about the things that you are passionate about.
But tell me something. Why can't hustle be without worry? Why can't hustle have chill? Like, I mean, why do we have to divide the world into this dichotomy of things, right? That this or like just black and white, right? Yeah. It's not everything has to be black and white. So you can hustle but still enjoy it. I do. That does not mean I don't get stressed. I do get stressed also. But how do I explain this? But I enjoy stress also.
You enjoy stress?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you do that?
I just look back at it. Okay, I'll tell you what. Since we were talking about movies, I have this one hack where you've seen all kinds of movies, right? Yeah. So any movie, any book, any fictional piece of content has a 3-part structure, 3-act structure, right? अपना hero है, अपने hero अच्छी की जिंदगी चल रही है उसकी, whatever, without too much self-awareness. Then something really bad happens with him.
Goes down.
Then he goes through a lot of self-awareness business, and then he comes back winning. Like he becomes a new person, gets the girl back, gets the job back, whatever, right? So he has to go through at least 90 minutes of struggle in a 3-hour movie. So that, imagine all your stress in 90 minutes of struggle is that, like, you're the hero of your story.
Right.
So just play some great background music in your head.
Probably play the Ved wala role from Tamasha.
Whichever, right? Or Shah Rukh Khan from that Chak De India, where he was like, thrown out of the team and all that. Think of yourself like that. That, okay, this is my struggle period, but it can still be glam.
Right. Makes sense. Like, that's actually a good hack.
Yeah.
Now, I'll always imagine my struggles as Ved from Tamasha.
Yeah, and start playing that music.
Yeah. Or probably Jordan from Rockstar.
Anything, whatever.
Because I anyway romanticize a lot of my life. Because I'm old school in a lot of things. I like writing letters and everything. So I'm going to do this. And you talked about Goa. You took a trip with Drishti to Goa. Yeah. So let's talk about Drishti because you share a very special bond with her. How did you meet Drishti? Was it because of BigBrain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So talk about Drishti. Like, who is she as a person?
She and I are complete opposites, polar opposites. Especially when we met. Now she's over the years she's changed a lot, and so have I. But when we first met, we were like from two different worlds. It was like one of us is alien. And despite that, what I loved about our friendship is that despite that, having two different opinions, having two different kind of upbringings, we are very good with each other, kind with each other. We also give it straight up to each other, right? If we think that the other one is bullshitting, then we'll call it out directly, right? Directly. So extremely honest and open, and also very kind. And I love that. And that's how female friendships should be. That, yeah. So it worked out really well.
Do you know Drishti? Now the Drishti that I see is very different from the Drishti that was on the show sometime back. So this is back when she had like 25,000 followers. Now she's 100K plus everywhere. And we talked about a lot of things that time. Like just like right now, we took a lot of detours and we talked about a lot of things. And at that time, she was someone completely different from who she is right now. And I love her growth.
Yeah, as a person.
Yeah, as a person, as a content creator, as a businesswoman in a way.
Yeah.
Because her content is business. And I love that about her. Because everyone now, any content creator that I'm talking to, I always talk about Drishti because I have seen her growth.
She's grown as a person a lot.
Yeah.
In the last 1.5 years that I've seen her, a lot as a person. She's broken her own belief systems to change how she sees the world, and that has served her really well. And we all need to do that. Like,
and that is the most hardest part.
Yeah, but you're able to see. I'm sure you have done that too.
Yeah.
But you yourself are not able to see it. I'm sure people who've been with you for a long time can see how you've grown as a person. So,
makes sense.
Yeah, that's what we should. That should be the human endeavor,
right?
To keep growing, even challenging our own belief systems.
Right. So how was that trip with Drishti to Goa? Because I saw a lot of fun stuff on your
Can
stories.
I be honest? Drishti, kill me if you want to, but I'll be very honest. It was her first time to Goa, and it was like my 11th or 12th, I don't know, 100th time to Goa. So I am more of a laid back, like I said, I'm a more laid back traveler. I would walk around. I would just like sit in one place and just relax, read and all that. Because it was her first time, she was like, oh, we have to bounce from here, we have to go there, we have to go there, we have to go there, we have to get content and all that. And I was going crazy at the end of it. And there was this one point where I told her, listen, I need time for myself, please. Right? Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I have never been to Goa.
No, what?
Yeah. My North Indian friends, they are like people who stay in the northern part of India, like not North Indian, but northern part of India. They give me shit about this because I'm very close to Goa.
You live in Bombay.
Yeah.
The flights are 1,200 bucks only.
Yeah, but I've never been to Goa because I don't like beaches.
Go.
I don't like beaches at all.
Goa doesn't just have beaches.
Okay, so tell me exactly what is Goa, because from the outside it's just beaches.
No, people think it's just beaches and parties and all that. No. It has a lot of culture. It has a lot of history. It has a lot of wildlife. It has amazing. South Goa has amazing birding and even herpetology, like a lot of snakes and all that. If you're into that, it has everything. Yeah? Goa is a paradise on earth. I don't know who you're asking the wrong person.
So I'll tell you, I don't like to party that much. And I don't like beaches.
You don't have to.
Goa is famous for those two things.
Beaches लोगों को क्यों नहीं पसंद आते? 2-3 reasons होते हैं कि you get like all sandy. That is one. Second, you get sunburnt, like it hurts and all that. उसके अलावा you have shacks and all. You have markets. You have museums. You have wildlife reserves. You have so much. You have great food. Great food. Are you vegetarian or non-vegetarian? Even in vegetarian, there's great food there.
Yeah.
Have vindaloo, dude. Vindaloo is so yum. It can be cooked in anything, but it's just amazing. Like, I mean, wrong person to ask.
You sold Goa to me. I
would send you tomorrow.
I don't mind. I don't know for what reason I've not been there. It's just that I never like partying. I don't like beaches. So, bas yahi mere reasons.
No. Then, I mean, before you go, drop me a text. I'll send you an itinerary, what all you can do, which is different from this.
How do you fall in love? Because there are people who have fallen in love multiple times and they have broken up multiple times. And then I refuse to believe that a lot of people who say कि प्यार एक ही बार होता है. And I'm like, नहीं होता. Films की चीजें नहीं हो सकता. कैसे possible?
नहीं, you can fall in love 10 times. And please do, everyone. Right? why this question exactly is answered by NLP, the course that I did. In that, we learned that everyone has a love strategy.
Okay.
Everything we do, all decisions we take in life, we have a subconscious strategy towards it.
Okay.
So you asked me to get on this podcast. I said yes immediately when I got your email. I replied later, sorry. But I said in my head, I said yes immediately. But I know 100% sure that my subconscious did some calculations. Okay, should I do this? Should I? What?
Right.
There was a strategy behind making this decision also. Similarly, we all have a love strategy, which is 3 steps. First is attraction, right? You're attracted to somebody, and in that phase, what people end up doing, like the first 2 months or whatever time is your attraction phase for, you say yes to everything the other person says.
Right.
If, for example, your friend is into wildlife, right? And he meets a girl, she's not into wildlife, but she'll be like, okay, let's go on hikes, let's go catch snakes for the first 2 months, right? And then from the 3rd month onwards, she's going to start saying no, because she's going to want to do what she wants to do, right? And that's where the conflict will happen. That is, so the people who break up in the attraction phase are the people who in the first phase just kept saying yes to each other's demands and just to be amicable and trying to make this work. Then the second phase is where you actually do the math, where you're like, okay, I met this guy or I met this girl. They're good for me because of this. They're good for me because of this. That's where you make lists, right? You justify why you were attracted to them. Then you go through the justification.
Right.
And it's not as easy as making lists. Your subconscious is always working, right? Most people, all the people you talked about, that they fell in love but never lasted, always were stuck in the second phase where they came to the justification. Their brain couldn't justify being with this person, the subconscious brain, even though they kept consciously justifying, no, she's so good for me. That's where conflicts happened, and then they broke up. And finally, when you're over that phase also, when all of this aligns and when you're able to work through all the first 2 phases, that's when the deep love stage comes in, the stage 3. And that's when you become truly you. You are ready for a relationship. You're ready to make a lot of, not just compromises, but just adjustments, learn from the other person and do everything that deep love requires. So people are usually always stuck in the first 2 phases only. That's why it keeps going wrong.
That actually makes sense. Because whenever I talk to my friends who have gone through breakups, in fact, including myself, now I realize when you have talked about this, that it's always that second stage. Although I might not, recognize it's because of these reasons, but it's exactly that now because now I have the power of hindsight. So it's exactly that second stage. But how do you deal with that then? How do you, let's say you have found someone who is exactly made for you, let's say was made for you, but there's still some friction between you two. How do you
There
deal
will
with
be.
those?
Because they're brought up very differently as you,
Yeah.
right? You're different environments, different humans.
Yeah.
Even if they're your twin soul, you have to deal with it. You have to get over the fact that things are going to be your way. We say this, that, oh no, I'm very adjusting and very this thing. The conflict arises when things start going not your way, when the other person comes first.
Correct.
So you have to, again, just like any relationship, there has to be a lot of open communication. Open and respectful communication.
So communication is the key to any relationship.
Everything. Professional, personal, everything. Communication. If you can improve your communication, conflict resolution, that's all you need.
That makes sense, because I went through a very dark phase last year where it wasn't a breakup, but it was that situationship wala breakup. So it hurt more. And now
Okay, sorry, I'm laughing too much.
I laugh about that. These two give me hell for that, because when I look at that, we were not probably made for each other, but in my mind, I wanted to make it.
Tried to justify it.
Yeah, exactly. And now I'm realizing this when you have talked about. Wow, I think so. I need to get proper coaching about this.
Relationship coaching.
But what is, according to you, how should a person, like, let's say, how should a man approach a woman just out of the blue? Like, for example, you are in Goa, for example. How should a man approach the woman?
If you don't know this person,
I'm just saying random.
Like
random
a new,
people.
like from a restaurant or something. You again,
because this happens very. I've seen this pickup wala thing. This happens, and there are pickup coaches as well now. It's a proper content. And this used to happen a lot in European countries and America, Western countries basically. In India, this was never a sort of tradition or it was a rarity, and now it is coming here. So what is your take? Because I know a lot of men, including me, sometimes I just don't know what to talk about with the opposite gender. So what do you do?
One thing you have to keep in mind, even if you're attracted to this person, whatever it is, respect. Respect is this umbrella that has to be there all the time. You cannot like let go of respect, right? And if anyone you approach respectfully, they will talk to you, whatever gender, right? So approach them like how you would approach a friend. And this is very, very important. People forget that the foundation to a good long-term relationship is friendship. Your partner has to be your friend. And before my relationship, I used to think, what does that even mean? Right? What it means is how easy you guys are with each other. You're able to talk about anything, joke about anything. That's how relationships should turn out to be as well.
Right.
So when you're approaching somebody, think of it that way. Can I approach this person with respect in a way that they would want to have a conversation with me? Sabse pehle to conversation hai na.
Right.
Will they talk to me? So just having that frame of mind will change the way you approach. So all you have to do is, hi, what you doing? How are you? Are you from around here? I'm new here. Talk a little about you, then ask them about them. Same networking rules apply to dating also.
Yeah.
With respect, of course, right? And ask them about them. And then instead of beating too much around the bush, I would just say that, hey, I found you really attractive. That's why I approached you. Say it in a very business manner. Like, don't say it in a creepy manner. I don't know how many times I can underline that. But say it in a very, not professional, but like respectful manner. And then let them know, okay, this is how I feel, that I find you very attractive and I would like to get to know you. Is that something that makes sense to you? If they say no, respectfully walk away. Yeah. And if they say yes, then continue talking.
Right. So, to just end this loop of dating life and everything here, what are your three, top of your mind tips for dating for like men and women both?
Tips for dating?
Yeah.
Communication, right? Even if you're early stage, you have to see the other person as a reasonable human. So are you a reasonable human. So reason with them, talk to them, right? And once your relationship starts getting deeper, one thing that I really dislike about a lot of people that they do in relationships is play games. They're like, oh, I'm not gonna text him all day so that he's gonna realize that I'm mad at him.
Yeah.
If you're mad at him, just have a conversation. Why do you have to play these games to get someone's attention, right? You want attention? Say it. Ask for it. You want more love? Ask for it. You want more gifts? Ask for it. Just say it out loud, right? So don't play games, because it just makes your relationship more unhealthy, right? And the third thing is, I know that, if a lot of your audience is in cities like Bombay, then I would say explore together. Do a lot of experiences together. Go to museums, libraries, bookstores, beaches, this, that. Do a lot of experiences together. That way you learn about each other also, and also learn how to navigate through relationship as well. Because earlier, for a few years, I was in Gurgaon, and there dating means only going to a bar, getting drunk, whatever. Just that was dating. And I hated it, because you should be able to do and have a lot of experiences with your partner.
Right.
Yeah.
So, the breakup that I was talking about, the breakup before the situationship, that happened just because of this. Because for us at that time, dating was just going to bars, going to restaurants, and or movies at max. That's it. And now the person whom I'm dating right now, she's by far, I don't know, the most mature kind of dating experience that I've had.
That's great.
Because we can talk about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And she's exact opposite of mine. So we talk about a lot of things because of that. And the common thing is books. So we go on bookstore dates. And that's
sweet.
the best thing.
Yeah. I love those.
Exactly. It's the best thing. And we have done this thing now. Every time we go on a bookstore date, we each will pick out 3 books for the other person.
That is so good.
Yeah. And out of random, you don't even tell the person why you have to read this. Just read. And then try to figure out ki kyun diya. That's your responsibility.
That is so good. I love that. Love that idea.
Yeah. So
people can take that away from
exactly.
you. Yeah.
And as you said, experience are those are necessary for any kind of relationship to build something upon. Because people from the army also say this. Why do they have this camaraderie? It's because of the experience that they have gone through. It can be trauma or happiness, but some kind of experience. Can you expose BigBrain for us?
Expose BigBrain? There's not much to expose. It's just a bunch of young people running a media channel, and we all write scripts and get scripts and shoot all of them.
And what is it like working with Ranveer? Because I watched one of Drishti's interview, and she said Ranveer is the most weirdest person to be around with. So spill the tea on that.
He's not really weird. I think the first time I met him, we spoke about all of these things that we spoke about. So he's very spiritual. He's fun. He's very quirky. Yeah. We don't really work together. So I haven't had very many work conversations with him. Just human conversations. So that way, I think he's very knowledgeable.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that comes across through his podcast. I know people give him a lot of bullshit for the podcast and whatever. Like
he has to do what he has to do for his business.
I get it.
A lot of it. Yeah. And I think that's very smart. You are going to, at that level, you're going to create content which gets you the most business.
Yeah.
Right? So,
and I'm also guessing that at the level which he's creating content, it's not for niche audience. It's for the masses.
Yeah, it is.
And when you are creating for masses, you cannot.
For the masses,
you cannot go deep into every topic because people don't understand. I have realized this in the past 3-4 days because people have given me bad shit, load of trolling and abuses and everything. Because the content that I created was for niches, but the masses saw it and it backfired on me.
Yeah, like I love psychology and neuroscience, but I can't go super deep into psychology to explain something simple, right? I can to a person sitting with me, but on Instagram or YouTube, I can't. So you have to.
So that is exactly why I wanted to, because a lot of people have told me, did you start your podcast because of Ranveer? Because he was the first one in India to do it on a mass level. There were podcasts before him, but he did it on a very massy level. And my answer is yes, because he brought that trend in India.
Yeah.
And I've been watching his videos since a long time, like for fitness and everything. Although I didn't follow his fitness videos because it's too much work. But yeah, like he has been an inspiration that way.
That's great.
Yeah. And this has been a great podcast because I was not thinking of firstly talking about death so sadistically, but I enjoyed talking about that. Before we end this podcast, so I just want to do a random rapid fire with you, and this is completely ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT to give me rapid fire questions. And
interesting.
Yeah. So let's do that. So the first question is: if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Burgers.
Oh, wow. What's your favorite movie quote of all time?
Quotes, I'm so bad at remembering.
I get it,
But the same, kursi. You can't take the first kursi you sit on.
Yeah.
So
biggest life learning as well. Yeah. If you could be any fictional character, who would it be and why?
Wonder Woman.
Oh wow. And why?
Because she's invincible and she also displays a lot of emotions. I like how balanced she is.
You actually have that exact personality, because now in the hindsight, when I look at this whole conversation, your content and everything, it's Wonder Woman ka picture, like it's there in my mind.
That is, wow, thank you so much. That is so sweet.
Then what's the weirdest dream you have ever had?
Weirdest, I don't know, but I keep having these recurring dreams that me and my family are mafia and another mafia family has come to like shoot us and all that, and we're running and having this whole, shootout.
Wow. Shah Rukh Khan, Varun Dhawan have that film now. Uska naam bhul gaya. I don't remember.
But I've been seeing this since I was a little kid. So.
Wow. Now this question is interesting because you like history. If you could live in any time period, when would you choose and why?
Very difficult to choose one.
Choose multiple.
Indian history, I would say right before the invasions from the Sultanate and all that, when India was before their experience and mix. So I wanted to see what India was like then. And outside, it's a very sad thing to say and probably was very, very morbid, but I'm very curious about French Revolution. So around that time.
Interesting. We have same, what is it called? Interest in history. Same time periods. Then, what's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you?
So many. I'm a pot full of embarrassment. I mean,
the biggest one.
See, the thing is, so many things happen. I can't even remember one. I just laugh everything off. Wow. I don't know.
Just
I have. It's not like a thing, but I have a tattoo which says persevere. But the tattoo artist was so stoned or whatever. He, instead of persevere, he started drawing or tattooing persevere.
Wow.
Persevere, right? So I made him, before he could finish the O, I realized, and I made him make the E ulta, the other way around.
Yeah.
And that's become my life story also, that a lot of challenges will come, but I have to persevere.
Can you show that tattoo to the camera?
I don't know if you can see it, persevere, but it's like ulta E.
Wow. Two last questions. If there would be, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, always, either Cranberries Zombie or something from Linkin Park.
Linkin Park is my favorite band. I've made this request to my best friend in life that whenever I die, just bring Linkin Park and play whatever they want to play. Just let them play.
Yeah.
Last question. If you could switch places with anyone for a day, who would it be and why?
For a day, I'm actually very happy in my own life.
But just for fun.
I would want to switch places with my partner, with my boyfriend, just to understand his life better, get his perspective, so I can be a better partner to him.
You think a lot about this.
No, this was very, very it's rapid fire. I just thought of it.
Wow. Awesome. So thank you so much, Ayushi, for doing this.
Thank you so much.
This has been so much, this experience probably of this whole podcast. I'm sure whoever is listening, they would enjoy this because we do a lot of serious podcasts and then this was like a ray of sunshine. And उसमें भी हमने death की बात कर ली. I'm so sorry.
Death is also fun only.
Yeah. I mean, death is fun. Yeah.
So, take it that way.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me here.